This podcast is part of the Gonna Geek Network. The opinions expressed may not reflect those of other podcasts or affiliates of this show or Gonna Geek. Check out other geeky podcasts at gonnageek.com and get ready because geekiness starts in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance level 10. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents of equal or higher security clearance.
And now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Penultimate Season 1 episode. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 21, Ragtag. What are we? We're a fan-based podcast called Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the Marvel show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the general Marvel universe, because you can't have one without the other, apparently. Just a reminder, you can find all our contact information on the Gonna Geek website, and you can also get there by typing in legendsofshield.com. We have a voicemail line, 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871. It's toll-free, and by the time you hear this, perhaps you will see Lauren's contact information on the top too, but she needs to get me a bio. I just put her on the spot because she didn't know that. So there you go.
I did not know that.
So now you know you need to get me one. We'll talk about it off the air.
Alrighty.
Oh, did you guys have a good week?
Yeah, I guess.
Sweet. How about you, Lauren?
I did, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So did I. No big storms. Matter of fact, getting the house repaired after the terrible winter that we had. Still have a few things to do, but...
Did any of y'all go out to Free Comic Book Day?
I worked all day, so I didn't get to.
So did I. It sucked because I was all ready to go. What, did you get anything?
Yes, I did. They limited us to 5 comics. I ended up getting pretty much all of what Marvel was offering. Rocket Raccoon, Guardians of the Galaxy. I ended up getting the Archaea offering of the year, which was Mouse Guard, I think. No, I can't remember. I ended up getting Mouse Guard and I ended up getting the Archaea one, but I can't remember if they're the same one. And the Avatar: The Last Airbender one for this year.
Oh,
and Atomic Robo.
nice.
So, yeah, I guess the Archaea one was Mouse Guard, because that would have been 6 otherwise.
What's your favorite cover art from all 5 of them?
Oh, Legends of Mouse Guard is so pretty, or Mouse Guard. It's not Legends of Mouse Guard. You people are infecting me. But I just adore Atomic Robo. Every year, their Free Comic Book Day issue is so worth getting. And if you wait a little while, it'll show up eventually on Comixology.
Which you can't purchase on the iPad anymore. I mean, directly from the iPad. Thanks to the little purchase agreement by Amazon not wanting to give Apple any money. Imagine that. Big Fortune 500 companies not wanting to support each other.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was plenty of cosplayers. I ended up making friends with a guy and his kid behind me, and we bonded over being geek girls, and that was fun. So it was a day worth having. And next year, if anybody who's listening to this has never been to a Free Comic Book Day, I highly recommend you find one in your area. They are awesome.
Yes, they are. I've been to a couple, and it actually surprised me. It actually brings out a lot of comic book fans. It's great.
It's Nerd Christmas.
Yeah, it is.
And it is Indoctrination Day for the youngins.
It's true. So did either of you two venture out to see Spider-Man?
Yes.
I have not seen it yet. I'm going to go see it tomorrow.
I haven't either. Yeah, I was planning on seeing it on Saturday. So Lauren, is it worth it?
I liked it better than the first one. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are great. Dean DeHaan is really good. Jamie Foxx is actually way better than I was worried that he would be when they first cast him, when they first started showing him in the makeup, in the behind the scenes stuff that was leaked. There were some storytelling problems, in my opinion. The sound in our theater wasn't that great. And there's a part towards the end where if you're photosensitive or if you have epilepsy, it could be a problem. I had to cover my eyes because I don't deal with really bright flashing lights very well.
Did you have a bad experience with a flashbang grenade at one point in time in your life?
No, I have migraines.
Oh, that's even worse.
And weren't you recently concussed as well?
I was also recently concussed, yes. But otherwise, I thought it was a really enjoyable movie. And the stinger has nothing to do with Spider-Man. So don't get your hopes up on that point. My husband was very upset by that, even though I told him this is going to have nothing to do with Spider-Man. And I explained to him the reason why.
Yeah, they made a deal with the X-Men movie, right?
Yeah, they let the director, Mark Webb, out of his contract if Sony agreed to let Fox promote X-Men Days of Future Past. So they showed a clip from that. And I was happy because I love X-Men and I eat up spoilers with a spoon, but he was less so because he wanted more Spider-Man stuff. The only thing I was unhappy about in that clip was one of the mutants featured because he's like my least favorite mutant ever. And I am so angry that he's in the movie just because I hate him so much.
I can't wait to see it. I just couldn't see it this past weekend. So, we had to see Cap when it came out the first weekend because we did a podcast on it. But this one, I was like, well, I can't. I've got a really busy weekend. I can't. So I'll just wait a week. So, yeah, that's how it turned out.
Yeah, I thought it was enjoyable. So
Good. Say we have some news for this week, don't we?
Yes, we do. Disney CEO Bob Iger has confirmed the release of Captain America 3 on May 15th, 2016 in a stockholder meeting.
Isn't it May 6th, 2016?
May 6th. Blah, 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 blah. I can't read numbers, apparently. But yes, May 6th, 2016. There's too many sixes right there for me to say. But yeah, they had a stockholders meeting and, people are concerned because right now Captain America 3 and Batman vs. Superman are set to be released on the same date. And they're like, which studio is going to blink first? Which studio is going to blink first? And Bob Iger is assuring everyone that it's not going to be Disney and Marvel.
Now, if you go back in the grand scheme of things, Marvel had carved out this date. They said, we're going to put a movie here. They just didn't announce what movie it was going to be. And then when DC ran into some filming issues production issues with Batman versus Superman, that they actually slipped their release date from around the Christmas time era of 2015 to May 6th, 2016. And then after they moved it, Marvel announced Cap 3 was going to be on that same date, which they had already reserved for one of their movies. So it's kind of silly, kind of stupid if you're sitting back as a fan going, I'm only going to see one movie this weekend, which is going to be, they're going to split the box office, probably not only for that weekend, but for other weekends. And coming off the success of Cap 2, coming off the success of hopefully an Avengers movie, this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, I, on this cast, have said I win the internet because I'm going to see both movies at a drive-in theater. But not everybody has a drive-in around them.
Well, and I've also seen an analysis that says, Disney can afford to take a hit and not have a huge major success for one movie in this epic franchise. This is supposed to kick off a franchise for Warner Brothers and DC. They can't afford to miss.
Yeah, one would argue that it's already been kicked off, but yes, the Justice League part of it, yeah, I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still convinced that DC is going to move it because of some behind-the-scenes production drama that I've been reading about on various celebrity gossip sites. I know don't trust celebrity gossip sites, but if there's some truth to it, then I think it might be the smarter move for them to move it to, say, like the 4th of July weekend, or maybe the Labor Day weekend even.
Generally, those have less success. Those dates have less success at the box office than do the summer dates. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was around the July, but there's got to be some big blockbuster already parked there. I just haven't taken a look out there. So I'll take a look at that and we'll talk about it next time. Talking about ratings and movie box office numbers and anything. Haley, you ran into some numbers, didn't you?
Yeah, we've got numbers for this week's episode, and they're down from last week. 5.37 million viewers, which is a little disappointing.
You're about 2/3 of a point down, but still.
I still expect the finale next week to be higher, but, I would like to see this episode be higher too.
Yeah, you'd think a penultimate number would get everybody all in a tizzy and everything, and And it set the stage, but apparently it didn't hit the ratings. I don't know. I mean, we've seen big ratings in May before. I know everybody's got a lot of things going on. They got graduations, they got finals, they got weddings to prepare for, moving, that sort of thing. But we have seen some huge numbers, the MASH finale, the Cheers finale, Friends finale, whatever. They all had huge rating numbers in May, so it's not impossible. But for a freshman series, I would really hope for more than just the 5s. I would hope for closer to double digits. That's just me.
Well, and it's not even that it's a 5, it's that it's down from last week, which is a problem.
Yeah. Well, next week with Samuel Jackson coming on, hopefully that'll snag a few viewers. We'll see what happens there. So, but enough for next week. This week, though, we saw an episode Ragtag. How'd you guys like the episode?
It was not my favorite.
Ward was evil.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite either, but Lauren, what would you say?
I said Ward was evil after all.
He was very evil.
Like, this whole time I've been, like, seriously, for this last half of the season, I've been going back and forth on, is he a double agent? Is he a triple agent? I mean, is he playing some sort of long game? What is going on? And this episode, I mean, yeah, it wasn't, I think, the best episode. Just, it was not my favorite episode. I'm with Haley there. But it had some really necessary stuff. Like, it had the answers of, is Ward evil or not? The answer is yes, but not as evil as Garrett. And yeah, just, I think all the notes that I took for that episode, like half of them were in caps lock because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what? Oh no. That was like half my notes right there. Yeah,
and your tech babies are playing MH370 on the bottom of the Indian Ocean now.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I think the capsule there has some sort of flotation capability or whatever. They're not gone. We'll see them next episode.
They're not going to kill them both that way. They'll kill one or neither of them.
They have the little transmitter quarter.
Yes.
Right.
So the question is, will it transmit through whatever they're in?
Well, that thing isn't soundproof because they were talking to Ward through it.
I know, but is it 1940s tech transmittable? I don't know the proper verbs for that.
I read an article saying that Stan Lee in the 60s was all about transistor technology. He thought transistors would solve everything. So I think...
Oh, yes. Every episode or every issue of Iron Man from the 60s has a new transistorized device.
And this is one of the reasons Scott refuses to read Iron Man from the 60s, because he just gets really, really mad.
You know, on top of the crappy tech, it's also not terribly good. So
So take that, Stan Lee.
Oh, by the way, happy 91st birthday to Stan Lee as of, I think, yesterday.
Wow, 91. That's amazing.
Stan Lee is amazing.
Way to go.
He has been old since... before anyone else was
kids,
born.
Yes.
So what's your favorite cameo of Stan Lee? I kind of like the Hugh Hefner look. What do you guys like?
Now I gotta remember all of them.
Oh, yeah, now I'm...
Yeah, security guard,
The security guard one was pretty good.
Which time? He's been a couple of security guards.
I'm gonna get fired.
Yeah, the one in cap. He was the old guy that drank the Hulk juice.
The Hulk blood.
Yeah. I kind of like... Okay, I know the Fantastic Four movies were not terribly good. Although they did give us a pretty much naked Chris Evans, so there's
Which is
that.
always good.
Which is always good.
Most of the time.
He did show up as an actual canon character in that one, their mailman. So that's kind of nice. And no, he's always naked, and mostly naked Chris Evans is always good, even if you have to sit through a terrible movie for it.
Right.
I say
really
this is
any of the Chris's.
What's your number? The guy was wearing nothing but like a little wash towel, okay? It was...
He had a Jamie Bamber moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I totally fixated on Agent 13, so, y'all... And Carol Marcus from the new Star Trek movie. That's awesome. But anyway, so I'll give you guys Chris Evans. Go ahead. Talk him up. Have fun.
We'll take all the Chris's.
Oh my God, his shoulders. And the butt. Oh my, in Avengers, when he's punching and the butt is just jiggling and you don't see the hand motions I'm making right now?
No, this is an audio
I can
movie.
see them, yes.
Yeah.
See, you know the hand motions, Haley.
Yes, I know. Everyone use your imagination.
At some point in time, I'm going to have to find out what the hand motions for the jiggling butt, what they are, so... That just blows my imagination. Anyway, back to the place. Yes, Ward is bad. You know, I have to say that the dude, I don't know, bad's not just the word. He's just an angsty teenager that makes bad decisions.
He's a Vader.
He makes bad decisions. Yes, a Vader, a little Christian Hale, right? Or whatever his name. Hayden Christensen, whatever. It's that bad actor that played Darth Vader that got to put the mask on. Yeah, he's exactly like that.
The whole time I was watching it, I was, texting my best friend back and forth. And about halfway through the episode, I'm like, oh my God, he's Vader and Garrett is Palpatine. So we ended up comparing every other character to other Star Wars people. So obviously Coulson is Obi-Wan, May is Yoda, Fury is Mace Windu, obviously. And Quinn is Tarkin, according to her. So
Tarkin?
Yes.
The governor, huh?
And I am convinced that Fitz is Luke because he just wants to see the good in Ward.
Okay, I could go with Fitz being Mark Hamill there, yeah.
See, because he's like, I know there's good in you, and Ward's like, it is too late for me, Fitz.
Oh, I called the theory. It wasn't true, but the exploding eye, I called it. Fitz said it.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
I know, I was like, oh, poor naive Fitz, just like Star Pie.
Yeah. Well, I just threw that out there as a possibility. I really didn't believe it, but it was something. At least they acknowledged it, and then they even acknowledged it with Raina too, with the little discussion with Deathlock.
Oh, speaking of Deathlock, when we get to that, I did a little bit of research on Deathlock because.
Oh yeah.
I'm mostly familiar with Deathlock Prime from Uncanny X-Force and Wolverine and the X-Men from the past couple of years. He's currently a teacher at the Jean Grey Academy, but this is not okay. When they mentioned, that the Deathlock project first started in the 1990s, I'm like, that has to have some significance. They love throwing Easter eggs in here. The most well-known Deathlock, he's the third Deathlock, was Roxxon employee Michael Collins, who started his own ongoing Deathlock series that premiered in the 1990s. He first appeared in Deathlock #1 from 1990. This comic is always at my local comic book store in like the back issues like place. And I always get confused because I always see Death Clock, which is the band from Metalocalypse. And I always get really excited and then I'm like, oh no, wait, no, it's the other guy. So there's a nice little Easter egg there.
Sweet. I really should have drawn another chart for this part.
Oh, they're charts.
It was funny with the circles. I thought I was in an Amway meeting. What? No laughs? You guys haven't been snared by Amway? Okay, yeah. They love to draw stuff.
I try to stay very far away from Amway.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, and at one point I wrote, Garrett is basically evil fairy godfather. Okay, so discussion, guys. Garrett, bad father figure, worst father figure. Discuss.
I think he's just got an evil, twisted mind. Probably. Worse. I could probably think of worst, actually.
I'm going to say worst because he would throw Ward under a bus without any hesitation.
And he keeps on trying to make him do bad things. Kill the dog. Get rid of Fitz and Simmons.
He literally gave him a dog just so he could kill it. It's just like the worst parenting.
I know. He's like turning him into an Unsullied.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, it was okay, but we never saw who actually pulled the final trigger. Now, that's a good question.
Which is what my best friend and I were talking about. She's like, oh my God, did he kill the dog? And I'm like, I thought Garrett killed it, but they never actually show.
Right, and then Garrett mentions later when Ward says, I've done everything that you've asked, and Garrett says, well, not everything. So I think that's one thing that he asked Garrett to do, or Garrett asked Ward to do that he did not do.
And I think there were probably repercussions for that.
Yeah. If you've ever gone to the website tvtropes.org, well, first of all, it's a time suck. Never go there. And second of all...
Isn't that the definition of everything on the internet?
Yes, but this one more than most, because you will end up going to all your favorite series and books and movies and stuff. Anyway, but there's this one trope there called, it's like pet the dog or shoot the dog. Shoot the dog moment is a moment where a villain lets you know how truly horrible they are by doing something completely awful to, let's say, a fuzzy little puppy, so you'll know how evil they are. That's like Garrett right there, if he's the one who literally shot the dog. Pet the dog is a moment where an otherwise unlikable character does something really nice so that they're actually kind of sympathetic to the audience. And if Ward did not shoot the dog, then I think he might still be kind of redeemable. Not now, but eventually, like over a long arc. But if he did shoot the dog, then I think he might be just an overall bad guy. And this is just like showing the start of his slide. But I don't know if they would do that.
First of all, I have a definition of shoot the dog, and that is my co-host from Voices of Defiance podcast. My co-host Sean will stop watching your show once you shoot the dog.
So would he be watching next week since they didn't actually show anyone shooting the dog?
I'll have to ask him.
If it is heavily implied that they shot the dog, but you never see a body, and it could conceivably come back as a cyborg dog.
It's true. You show me the dog body. Yeah, I got to go there.
It is a comic book show, so
exactly.
The dog could come back at any time.
Yeah, just infinitely running after pheasants and deer. Yeah.
Right now, he's living on a farm in the country.
Nobody I know uses dogs to go fetch deer, by the way. That's just not done here. I know it was done a long time ago in England when they actually used the dogs to help hunt.
See, they wouldn't fetch the deer. What they would do is run them down. Like the Weimaraner breed were specifically bred to run after stags and bite them on the balls while the hunters, to slow them down so the hunters could shoot them.
I think I'm going to stay the rest of the podcast in the fetal position. Thank you very much.
But they're really cute puppies.
Yeah, okay. All right. My dad wanted a wine runner for a long time, so yeah. They're gray, right?
Yeah, they're the beautiful gray-brown dogs. They look like almost silvery. I love them. And they had those beautiful, beautiful, like pale brown eyes.
They're also pretty big. They're like 100, 120 pounds, right?
Yeah, they're large.
The horse. So I have a thought that as soon as Garrett said he had 1,000 acres and then he marooned Ward there, I immediately thought of Winnie the Pooh, 100 or 1,000 acre woods. All right, it's kind of weak, but I kind of liked it.
See, when he showed back up and he's like, 6 months have passed. Well, first of all, I didn't think that baby Ward looked anything like adult Ward.
No, but young Garrett looks like Christian Slater.
Yeah, he doesn't he? And he gets that great $5 haircut from Nurse Girl all the time, right?
And I was like, wow, he looks really clean shaven for having been abandoned in the woods for 6 months.
I thought that too. How's the boy shaving?
Apparently, they were like, he's been breaking into cabins. I'm like, and the first thing he does is, hijack their Gillette razors.
I guess, but his hair's all long too, so he's not taking care of his hair. He's just taking care of his face. That's kind of funny. They should have given him a little scruggly beard.
They really should have. I mean, just glued like...
They could have borrowed Adrian Pastar's mustache.
Yes!
That would have worked. Yeah, and I fanboyed out on the truck a little bit. At first I was like, that truck is not 15 years old. And I was like, oh crap, it is.
Yep, 15 years ago was 2000. 1999.
It was 1999. So I almost bought one back then, but I Googled it and I was like, dang, I'm that old. Wow. Yeah. Where 15 years has gone by and it was like, I was going to buy that truck yesterday. Crap.
And then you realize that yesterday was, 2000 and time has passed. We are getting old.
Yeah, all right.
Marching on to our own inevitable deaths.
Oh, good times on the podcast.
Good times!
Like, where did we go? It was such a dark hole all of a sudden. I just want my bus back.
Speaking of which, Raina with his he's just afraid to die thing instead of, he doesn't want to help superpower people. He just doesn't want to die. It's like, where have you been this entire season?
Well, no, time out. As soon as she figured out what Garrett actually was, that he was not the clairvoyant, you saw the disappointment in her face, but she knows she'll get killed if she says anything. So she hasn't.
Like, she's only now just kind of, well, I guess, yeah, she wasn't, privy to the information that we as the audience are. And I need to remember that, but because I'm always getting mad at people for not remembering that, but just,
As soon as she could, she started working Ward. She got Ward alone. She started filling his mind with moldable things, and she's got a plan. I like Raina. I like the plan. And I also think, did you catch the comment that she is also what Skye is? Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
Yes. And that gives us a chance to talk about Skye. Her parents were monsters. I kind of wonder if they're leading into Inhumans.
Ooh, I hadn't even thought of that. Oh my god, I hope so.
I'm lost. What's an Inhuman?
It's a race in the Marvel Universe, a superpowered race, similar to mutants, but not.
They're like more cosmic. Black Bolt and Medusa are like two of the like best known examples. Black Bolt, he can't talk or else he will
destroys
basically
everything.
Yeah, he will kill you with his not brain. He will kill you with his talking. And Medusa, she's like her hair is basically superpowered.
Yeesh.
But they're basically like cosmic mutants, but more. And that would be awesome. Oh my god, it totally makes sense, especially with Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, I'm all excited now.
We figured
That is
it out.
so much better than Skrulls.
Or Kree or Atlanteans. Sorry,
Well,
John.
no, I still think we've got Kree coming.
Yeah, I still think that thing in the tank was a Kree, but oh my god, there was some people that were like, oh, if Skye's a Krull, this is gonna be so stupid. I mean, a Krull? A Skrull. Why can't I speak tonight?
Word's hard.
It's the combination between a Kree and a Skrull. The Krull.
That's Teddy Altman.
Yeah.
Everybody read Young Avengers now.
Right now. Just
Right now.
I've got
pause the
like
podcast.
25, 30 years until I get there, so I'm working on it.
Read faster.
Well, maybe we can get Garrett to give you an exploding eye so it can just stream directly into your eye.
I can just be reading while I'm checking people out at work.
Yeah, and the checking out is not the checking out that you think, right?
No, it is not the fun kind of checking out. Well, sometimes.
So, well, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose. You got some of that goodness coming through every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, odds of numbers, big numbers.
Big numbers, like a large file transfer.
Sturgeon's law, it's like 10%, 90% of everything is crap, but 10% is great. Something like that.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, it applies to fiction, but it's that way with most things too.
Okay. Talking about stuff in most things, the files, the non-digital files. What up with that? In the Cybertek office?
Yeah, that seemed impractical.
That's not even Zola. It's like Stone Age.
I mean, it's useful in that it really throws off people like us who are so reliant on digital technology. Like, go to a high school student now and tell them to research something in the library and see if they have any idea how to do it. So I can see them doing that to frustrate somebody who's trying to break in. But yeah, it's impractical.
Yeah, but if you're operating an organization, it'd be impossible to get any work done anyway.
Yeah, this is like a major multinational tech corporation, and all of their files are in cabinets on paper.
Yeah, it's just impractical.
Well, I was going to say something about the place I work, but yeah, we're throwing out files from like the 1980s right now.
Mm-hmm. But
why do we have this?
If they were digital, you'd be keeping them, though. I guarantee you. They'd be stored somewhere.
Not necessarily. Anyway, it's a long story.
Yeah, sure. So, as we were going through this episode and I saw Cybertek and I saw the little chart that Coulson was making and everything, I said, the hashtag for the season should not have been "It's all connected." It should have been hashtag Cybertek is all connected. I'm trying, ladies. I'm trying.
I'm sorry. I was searching for like a deeper meaning there, and then I realized, oh wait, no, it's a terrible pun. But
well, it's not even a pun. It was just a hashtag. I mean, it's not all connected. Cybertek is the one that had Garrett and Ward, and they were just looking for the serum. So
yeah, and then okay, I thought you were making a joke about how they are not connected because their stuff is literally in cabinets and files.
Oh. See, I shouldn't have done it that close because we were talking about that. Yeah.
So I think going into season 2, they're going to be using all of Trip's grandfather's retro S.H.I.E.L.D. gear.
I think they're just about out of it because they only had so much of the stuff.
They had a big case full of stuff.
Well, but they used the little pen laser stuff. They used the little walkie-talkie, the button walkie-talkies.
If they get Fitz and Simmons out, then they can make stuff out of. They can MacGyver stuff.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Fitz out. I think Simmons is not long for this world.
Don't say that.
And then Fitz is going to be working on Revenge.
Oh man, Revenge Fitz, because he got pretty nasty when they were looking for Coulson earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
And he didn't feel bad about maybe killing Garrett.
Feeling bad about killing Garrett.
When he used the little hand shocker EMP,
Yeah.
he was like, I don't regret it.
No. He was
That was a pretty badass moment, too.
Yeah. Well, what about Garrett being the original Deathlock? I mean, we finally find out the backstory on him, that he gets blown up. They wouldn't even medevac him. And when they did, the only way to save him would be to throw this tech on him. He's got some serious issues with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, so he goes to Hydra, like they really care about him.
You know what he's reminding me of? Y'all seen Skyfall, right?
No.
The latest James Bond movie?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's reminding me of Silva in that movie. It's kind of the same sort of situation.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, it's not, a direct parallel, but the same kind of, feeling abandoned by the person, the organization that you worked for, and horribly mutilated, and... Yeah,
that's true. Mm-hmm. And then he goes way over to the bad side to try to make terrible things happen. Yeah, well, yeah, I think you've got more there than I gave it credit for. I think that's spot on. Silva is Garrett. Garrett is the clairvoyant. Therefore, Silva is the clairvoyant. Interesting.
So does that make James Bond Coulson? Yes.
But Coulson doesn't have a license to kill, or he prefers not to use it, at least.
Well, he's just like a really low-key James Bond.
He needs to wear a tux more often. That would be cool. Coulson in a tux the whole time on board the bus. That's great.
He does have a bar on his plane.
That's true.
Chicken, not
a really nice bar.
No fish tank, though. Got to cut that out. Oh, watch out, Hydra. Here we come.
So, again with Garrett and his freaky weird tech, do you think Raina actually helped him, or do you think there's something else at work there?
You know what I thought during that scene? I thought, Spaceballs, we've gone from orange to blue.
The friend that I was watching it with pointed out that when he started glowing, it looked very much like the Extremis scenes in Iron Man 3.
Well, Extremis is in the cocktail, so I think it was probably supposed to.
With any hope, he'll burn up.
No, because the GH325 is supposed to stabilize him.
Yeah, but with any hope, it doesn't work and he'll burn up.
Yeah, Raina said, look, I've made no promises here. I think he's not long for this world. I think because he was saying he was feeling the universe. I think he's definitely, if he does come around, he's not going to stabilize. He's just got too much damage on his organs. He's got too much tech in his body. He's just not going to respond to it well. That's what I think. I think no matter what, he's dead next week.
Well, I think he's dead, but I think somebody's going to kill him.
And then he's going to blow up. Ooh, like that one scene. What episode was that? It was like week 6 or so in the firehouse when Coulson and May just walked out and watched the guy blow up.
Oh, yeah.
Chilling.
Just from a sheer meta perspective, the fact that he's played by kind of a big name actor makes me think that he's not going to survive the season. Just because,
they can't afford to keep him around.
Exactly. I'm actually surprised that he was here for this long, but...
Yeah, I was expecting him to be in one episode.
Ditto.
That's right, and around PaleyFest is when they confirmed he would be in more, so that was cool. Although at the time, we thought it was going to be cool to have a more serious agent, badass agent around, but no, he was a bad guy. So yeah, next year he could be replaced by John Barrowman. He's looking for a gig. His Arrow thing ran out.
That's fine with me. I love seeing John Barrowman in anything.
Hop from show to show, causing chaos wherever he goes. I'm cool with that.
That's Captain Jack for you. Also, May, back at Cybertek again, May's race to the red phone.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
Yes.
My favorite part of the episode was her pushing up her glasses afterwards.
I loved her and Coulson
playing Dr. Tittle.
Playing Fitz Simmons.
Playing Fitz Simmons, yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Did your sweater itch?
That was adorable.
Yeah, and it was great because they're such good operatives that they were just going with whatever they were being fed. And Fitz Simmons were just not getting it.
They were getting into it, which is why they started arguing with each other and forgetting that, they're actually doing something. But that kind of made it believable for their unwitting audience. Yeah. So it all worked out in the end.
Oh yeah, and back before I forget, back to the GH325 inside Garrett. Raina did say, "I'm waiting for what's inside to be revealed." So perhaps when Garrett's feeling the universe, that he transforms into whatever the Kree is, or whatever created the GH325.
Tank dude.
Because that's what Raina is all about, right? She's looking for that transformation, and she hasn't received it yet. All the GH325 has done so far is it's healed Skye and Coulson.
I would love it if Raina ends up switching sides and joining Team Coulson.
I think she's already done that.
I think she's going to.
Because Coulson's a good
I think
man.
she's in the process of it, but I don't think she's there yet.
I think she's just waiting for her opportunity because she's completely disillusioned with Garrett.
Right now, I feel like she's on her own side, and she's just realizing that. Because like she said, she's more interested in the superpowered people in a different way than I think Coulson is, and in a different way than Hydra is. Both S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra were looking for ways to use people with superpowers, from what I can tell. In different ways. S.H.I.E.L.D. was looking to use them defensively, like the Avengers, and, utilize their powers and their abilities and their know-how in ways that'll protect Earth. And whereas Hydra is looking to use them as weapons, as for profit, things like that. And she seems kind of to be, from what little that we've seen and heard from her, she seems kind of to be purely for those people. Like, she wants them to reach their potential as people in terms of their powers, which kind of makes her an interesting third faction.
Yeah, she's not completely altruistic, though, because she has disposed of previous test subjects.
Yeah. But I think that was, again, because she was going through what Hydra was telling her. I think that she thought that she was doing that sort of good. I, again, can't say for sure. I'm not one of the writers. But I think it'll be interesting now that she knows what Hydra's game is, and now that S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer really a player, to see if she decides to choose a side, which side she goes on, or if she decides to just kind of strike out on her own. And I want her to go Team Coulson because I want her to be on the show as a regular. But we'll see.
Yeah, it might be right there. I mean, she does have a following, but she is definitely not a goody two-shoes. And Coulson's been after her for quite some time, and Coulson knows what she has done to people, so he would have to overlook that. And I'm not sure he's in a position where he can do that. He's in a position where he can overlook May's betrayal, but she didn't kill anybody doing it. Raina has.
Going again with the Star Wars parallels, have any of y'all, I know, have any of y'all watched Clone Wars?
A little bit.
Okay.
I haven't yet.
Okay, watch it. It's so good. She reminds me of Asajj Ventress, particularly in the later seasons. She starts off on the bad guy side because of all the stuff that she was told. And then as she comes into herself, she ends up more on her own side, because she realizes that she was kind of fed a load of, stuff. Stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, those third-party characters are the most delicious to me because, they do have some redeemable qualities to them, and yet they're not totally despicable and totally bad. Like right now, Ward would not fit in there whatsoever. I just want Ward gone at this point in time. I don't want to see him around. His angst is just, I'm fed up with it. I don't want to see it anymore. But Raina, oh, she has always been phenomenal. Even when she was operating underneath, what's his name? The guy that was in jail.
Quinn.
No, not Quinn. The older guy, the operative who poked people's eye out with a steak knife.
Oh, that guy, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when she was operating under him, the only reason she was following him was because he was connected to the clairvoyant, and she thought that the clairvoyant was trying to do the same thing that they were trying to do. So, yeah, I definitely could see Raina as an interesting character going on. I mean, she has my attention when she's on camera. Ward does not have my attention anymore. I just want him gone. I've said that like 3 times already. I just want him gone.
4 times.
Mm-hmm. I'll go 5 too, if you force me.
May is going to take over in the role of Skye's SO.
Oh, yeah, the Hate-Foo. She gets up most mornings at 5 for the Hate-Foo. That was great.
I like that. I really like May kind of as team mom.
Yeah.
Kind of taking over the role of being mentor to Skye. Because May's awesome. And yes, Hate-Foo.
she's got a lot of extra time. She's no longer, making those reports to Fury. So,
And she's no longer bonking Ward.
maybe May and Skye could start bonking.
You're just like my brother. That whole scene where they're in the hotel room together, he was just like, kiss, kiss, kiss.
Do it now. Do it.
For a while there, I was still like convinced that May was Skye's mom, so I just can't ship those two.
That still could happen. Doubtful right now. It still could happen.
No, at this point, because it was such a strong fan theory early on that, like, if you don't reveal it at this point, it's like, you're gonna How I Met Your Mother it. Still bitter over that, by the way. Coulson was great. I mean, this episode, Coulson saved this episode for me because we got a lot of backstory, but it wasn't an incredibly action-packed story. Didn't have too much in the way of wins going on, whatever. But so, yeah, Coulson does the, circles, the presentation, says, I want my bus back. He
fanboys out.
Yeah, definitely fanboys out. He does the secret door. They're like my thing. I got this. Wait. So this episode, I think, really, Clark Gregg, I don't know if it was written for him or if he makes stuff up as he goes along, but his presentation is just, it's so endearing. Everybody loves him. It's great. I think he was the star of the episode by far.
He's just I don't want to say he's there's a word I'm looking for and I can't, understated. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, he's just so extremely understated in all the stuff he does. He doesn't have to be, the big brash person. He's just kind of, he's the team dad. And he's just kind of that guy,
that guy. I'm still waiting for his freak out. Unless was actually the freak out. I'm still waiting.
I think that was the freak out.
You might have it in the finale.
See, if is the freak out.
Well, death.
Fury is going to be in the finale, so there could be some sparks when they see each other.
Mm. Fury with both eyes, too.
Well, 1.5 eyes.
Well, in the screenshot, we saw there were 2 regular eyes, though.
Could be contacts.
Okay. Don't want to scare anybody away. So at the end, we get basically the team, the Coulson, Trip, May, and Skye, going into the secret Havana base, which used to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. base, but now it's Hydra base. And there is an entire Centipede soldier platoon waiting for them.
And one of them has a berserker staff.
Yeah, not going to end well. It's just not going to happen. I don't think May is going to be able to take it.
Yeah, my notes say, oh, blank, it's that thingy, and then keyboard smashing.
So does the keyboard smash actually have a bunch of different illegible letters on it, or do you actually type
ASLKDFJSDAF, so on and so forth? I was actually smashing the keyboard while I was watching.
Is Scott sitting there going, no, you're going to break it?
Scott's in the other room because he missed a couple of episodes and hasn't caught up. Yeah, our DVR erased a few episodes, and yeah, forever angry.
Hulu.com.
Yeah. Do they have? Oh, geez, which episodes?
They have the last 5 or so.
I know, and we're missing the one with Sif and the one right after.
That might be on the edge of being gone right now.
Yeah, because it's not on demand.
Yeah, it might not be there. The Sif episode was a really good episode, wasn't it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
And that episode actually has a whole other meaning now that we know what Ward is.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, I think Haley mentioned it before, but when Ward is off with Sif, I think he's having the time of his life. I think legitimately.
I think you mean Lorelai.
Yes, not Sif, Lorelai. When he's off with Lorelai, I think he's having the time of his life. I don't think that he is acting in any way. He is just oh, this is what I've wanted my entire life. And it's not fake for him whatsoever.
Did y'all catch it? Apparently he tried to set his older brother on fire?
Yeah.
No, he did not know that he was in the house.
He told Garrett he didn't know. That's the I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison defense.
Okay, I could see that. I was taking him at face value, and I shouldn't. I shouldn't trust anybody at any time, right?
Well, you shouldn't trust Ward.
Shouldn't trust Garrett either, apparently.
Well, no. Also, Skye did not put loads and loads of porn on that hard drive.
A missed opportunity.
I know. I love how disappointed we all sound.
They would have had Hydra just entranced for months. Like, oh, have you seen this?
Well, she hasn't actually activated her Trojan horse yet, so maybe it still has work to do.
If there are any Hydra computers, I think that was the whole point of the episode, to say Hydra doesn't have computers, except for Zola.
No, Cybertek doesn't have computers.
Well, isn't it one and the same?
Not exactly.
Not necessarily.
Those were separate circles on the chart. Go back and study.
So, one thing I was thinking the entire time, if Cybertek keeps on coming up as being the bad lab boy in this whole thing, the corporation behind it, wouldn't you think the FBI would have shut them down?
I think they don't know that they're these bad guys.
Well, okay. So they had a lab blew up and there was no investigation into it. Way back episode 1 with Mike Peterson.
I mean, that's probably information that S.H.I.E.L.D. was investigating, and now that S.H.I.E.L.D.'s gone,
yeah,
no
they
one's
might
really
have
followed up.
taken it over.
All right. So S.H.I.E.L.D., just like Quinn, Cybertek is free and clear now because S.H.I.E.L.D.'s gone.
I'm not sure I'd say free and clear, but yeah, it might be one of those circumstances where, you know how in like some criminal trials, if like say there was a case here, I think in Texas, where a judge had been found guilty of accepting bribes and things like that. So suddenly it was like all of the cases that he had like judged in the past several years had been called into question. It might be something like that. So even if they had been under investigation previously, they're like, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. is really Hydra, so who knows? They might have been just kind of, poking at these guys because they wouldn't give them what they wanted. So it might be a circumstance kind of like that. I'm probably giving this a lot more thought than...
I do like the fact that how Quinn has gone from being incarcerated to being a major defense contractor supplier.
Well, it's Washington.
And Marvel.
And Marvel. Remember the time that Norman Osborn, ended up running totally not S.H.I.E.L.D.? This happened. This absolutely happened.
And that guy had a few decades of being an evil genius under his belt.
And they're like, hey, let's put Norman Osborn in charge of everything.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Sounds like a great idea.
We'll get lots of cool stuff. We'll protect the country. It'll be all good. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
And by the way, Tony Stark's under arrest.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't in the show. It was in the comics.
Oh. Was there a news story I missed on Tony Stark?
No.
Like, crap. The only news story I saw was of Deathlock going down and killing a Cuban drug lord, which, hey, good on you. Not Cuban, Colombian. I'm just full of them tonight, aren't I? Just misdirecting and saying stuff that just ain't true. Sif instead of Lorelei. Cuban instead of Colombian. Just the little things.
It's okay. I apparently can't say any word that involves alliteration.
You just did. That was impressive. Do you guys have anything else on the episode?
I have one more thing. When Trip was shooting the zip line for them to escape from Cybertek, he shot that arrow right into a ceiling panel. Those asbestos panels really hold a lot of weight. That was my last note. I was just like, what? Seriously? Come on, guys.
My science babies.
Lauren, are you out of notes?
Yes.
Okay, so your point, Haley, runs right into this. Our friend, our consultant, Nightwing, sent us, the three of us, a story that was just released yesterday as we record this. And it's Marvel legend Jim
Steranko,
thank you, has a 7-point plan to fix Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the reason why I'm connecting these two is because you mentioned, an action scene, basically. And one of the 7 things that Jim points out here is get yourself a good stunt coordinator. These bad replacement stunt duplicates in dark places doing quick, cool moves is just not cutting it in the series anymore. And I will agree with him. I mean, the action in a much lesser funded series called Arrow, that I also cover on the Starling Tribune podcast, is much better choreographed than this. Just much, much better. Even though I fanboyed out on May's little movement down the hallway earlier, it was, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it did come off a little cheesy, so.
It also has a younger cast in terms of Clark Gregg and Ming Na are both in their 50s. And Stephen Amell and Manu Bennett are both in their, 30s? And they're both in, just
ridiculous
awesomely
shape.
Good shape. And seriously, if you've seen Manu Bennett on Spartacus, just But
because you see a lot of him on Spartacus.
You see all of him on Spartacus. Just let me tell you see all of him on Spartacus. But
I can think of a couple other ladies that I'd like to see on Spartacus too.
But
you see a lot of ladies on Spartacus too.
You see all of everyone on Spartacus. But what was I saying?
You were equating the two shows and the fact that this is an older show.
Yes.
Older cast.
Well, a lot of the cast is not in that type of shape. I'd say that probably the only one who remotely is Ward. And with the rest of them, I've noticed that the cuts, the action seems a lot more like Buffy, where you would have that cut, the cuts where you see the back of someone's head and then it goes back to the actor when the action's over. I mean, from a certain point of view, it makes sense because it's, the Whedon family working on it. So they probably still have a lot of the same contacts with the stunt coordinators. I'd have to look up and see if it's the same crew. Jed and Marissa also worked on Spartacus. So I'd like if they could hire some of those stunt coordinators and some of those trainers to work with these people. But I don't know. It's not the same type of show at the same time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Some of the general themes in here is, it seems to me like I want to make this a more serious drama. 24 came to mind when I was reading some of these things that they were saying, but more of an action drama. I would want to say person of interest here because I like the show, but it too, again, has its cheesy stunt moments, especially as the actors are, like you said, are getting older and their contracts are getting fatter because the show's been successful for so long. So they don't want to do more and more stuff. You pick a show. I mean, just a serious action drama, spy drama, whatever. It's generally has a lot of action in it. But one thing that I thought of might work here is more of a Stargate feel, which I don't really have the Stargate feel, or a Firefly feel. And even though this is made by the same people that made Firefly in general terms, it just doesn't have that Firefly feel to it, in my opinion. Now, I might be alone here on that, but if you went for one of those feels, any one of those three, pick one, Stargate, Firefly, action drama, I think it would be better for a mainstream TV audience. Now, here's where I have a problem with even that, is that this is not any of those shows. This is a comic book show. It's meant to be like that. Now, one thing that he does say here, the number one point, is the relationships in the show. He's like, yeah, just get rid of it. Who cares who's crushing on who? You need to get past that.
I would say definitely, because that's annoyed me in this last half of the season.
I wouldn't say that so much as I would say, okay, in recent years, I've become a much bigger fan of shorter seasons, like 10 to 13 episodes. I think that it allows for much tighter writing. And I think that, again, Jed and Marissa, when they wrote for Spartacus, they did an absolutely fantastic job of squeezing all that character development and emotion into 13 episode seasons. And watching this, I'm remembering, oh yeah, this is a problem with the 22 episode hour-long drama, is because they have to find so much padding for it. And at the same time, yes, you can say it's more character development, but then at the same time, it is the kind of plotting feel at a lot of parts and a lot of kind of extraneous drama. I think it would have fit a lot better into 13 episodes.
I would agree with that.
I can't disagree, because a person of interest, I love the show, but it would be better as a shorter season. And another show that I watched, Defiance, and I also cover that on Voices of Defiance with Sean. When I cover that, it's a 13 episode per season show. So what the advantage is on that is you get the writers in a room all together before the season and you plot out the entire season. And everybody's aware of whatever's going to happen at any point in time. When you get into that longer season, you just have a couple episodes. You're like, okay, I need X to happen there. I need one thing or two things to happen there. The rest of the story I don't care about. Just don't affect the greater universe. And it just feels so disconnected. There are series, though, that have an issue with that. And I would say that the latter part of Series 7 over on Doctor Who 7B was not as connected as it should have been. So there's ways to do it right and ways not to do it right.
Yeah, there's definitely shows that do benefit from, there's shows that benefit from a longer, the 22 episode hour long format. Like Babylon 5, I think was an excellent use of that, but that's because the writing was so tight and everything it was basically a novel.
Didn't at some point the head of that show write an entire 22 episode season?
Season 3. JMS wrote all of season 3.
Did he just go into a scotch coma after that?
I wouldn't doubt it, but season 3 was so fantastic. Like, just amazing. But with this, I think because they're trying to make it into an all audiences show and because it's its first season, I think that, they took a lot longer to find their feet than they might have if it was a 13 episode or 10 episode or even a 15 episode, whatever. I don't think they do those show.
So let's just go down the entire seven, what do you want to call them? The 7 point plan here. Yeah, 7 points. We've done the plotting relationships. We've talked about the fight coordinator. The third one is the special tech gadgets, the James Bond-ish sort of thing that you would think S.H.I.E.L.D. would have a little bit more of. And I thought we had a little bit of that at the beginning of the season with Fitz and Simmons. I mean, the night gown is definitely, forefront in there.
Sleepy gun.
Yeah. And yeah. And the technobabble sort of thing that those two could bring to it that you would get in a Star Trek series or whatever. I think that they absolutely could throw stuff in there, just neat little sci-fi gadgets the whole time. I think with what special effects we have seen in the latter half of the season or a little bit more, there's always been something about the plane. The bus. Now, even though this episode wasn't about the bus at all, we got even a special effect about it when they popped out the special compartment that Fitz and Simmons were in. The little, whatever you want to call it, roll-on, roll-off compartment just came out of the side of the plane, went down.
The shipping container?
Whatever it is. I think we've seen a little hospital unit, whatever. I think they're modular containers to do whatever you want to on them. But that was it. That was the bus moment. And that was, aside from the Howling Commando stuff, that's all you got here, and I think the show could be a little bit more teched out.
I would have to agree there, especially because S.H.I.E.L.D., as we've been seeing it in the current Marvel movies, is basically the sci-fi CIA NSA. And it's what everyone thinks those organizations really are, but, dialed up to 11. So, why shouldn't we see all this high-tech ways to monitor people and to do all this awesome spy stuff that we think people would be doing? But then at the same time, with the resources of S.H.I.E.L.D. stripped away, I can sort of see why they're not highlighting the stuff recently. And then again, if we get Fitz and Simmons back, totally have them MacGyver all this stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that might be kind of a season 2 thing. Like, they've got to jerry-rig some way to get out of a situation, and it's whatever they can make up, and they come up with these cool new little gadgets.
So number 4 is generate complete, intriguing, satisfied adventures, yet continue to contribute to a greater development drama. Okay, yeah, look, just in your mind, don't look at the episode list at all. What are your favorite episodes? So you got stuff like Tahiti. You got stuff like last week when Coulson had the hump moment. You had issues like that, and they were good stories in themselves and still had a contribution to the greater story development. I think more of that would be great.
I think probably the best standalone that wasn't really part of the biggest arc was the FZZT, which was number 5, where Simmons was almost killed.
Oh, yeah.
For an episode that wasn't part of the greater arc that just kind of stood alone, I think that's probably the best one.
Yeah, I have to say, in the first 6 episodes, because that's all they had to begin with, I think that was the one standalone episode that they had of the original 6. It was pretty good. Yeah. Number 5 was feature the man with the eye patch in every segment. You could bring him in on communiques. You can, people can be talking to him back and forth, whatever. I think they've tried to do that a little bit, but they need to do more of it. They need to bring the Sam Jackson-esque into it a little bit more.
Sam Jackson's probably kind of pricey for a TV budget.
Right, but I mean, even if it's just, hey, you're on the phone with him and you're not hearing him on the other end, but you're part of the conversation, they could do stuff like that here and there.
I'm fine with them not having Nick Fury, especially given the way that they ended Cap 2. Mm-hmm. But I would like a lot more Maria Hill.
That's me too. I was really hoping, okay, How I Met Your Mother's over now. She's got more free time in her schedule. Make her a regular on the show.
Yes, please.
I'm really hoping for more Agent 13.
You don't say. This is coming as a complete shock to me.
Number 6, Crash the Bus. Okay. I've got to say something about this. Crash the Bus, Crash the Enterprise comes to mind immediately. And I had just about had it with Star Trek crashing the dang ship. And in this last Star Trek movie, they did a bait and switch on it, which I actually enjoyed, liked it. Now, when it comes to the bus, okay, yes. C-17s aren't exactly the sexiest planes around. We need something more like what the X-Men have. Something new age, something capable of really getting from one end of the world to the other in a matter of minutes rather than hours. Yes, crash the bus and let's see what else is underneath Fury's hood.
Except they live on their plane. The X-Men hop on the plane and then they go back to their mansion.
Yeah, I know nothing about planes, so I don't really care about this point. It's just that, yeah, I like the bus because it's become home.
Yeah, okay. Oh, we'll agree to disagree. Okay. And 7, finally, I'd purge the entire cast and replace them with tech aces who actually look like they could handle themselves in clobbering time situations.
So he wants an entire cast of people that are going to have the exact same role in the team. This is the one I disagreed with most.
Ditto.
Yeah, you can't replace the cast at this point in time. You can kill a couple of them off from time to time, but you can't replace the whole cast all at once. Not going to happen.
I'm pretty sure they're subbing in Trip for Ward at this point, and that's going to be a permanent change in the lineup. And I really think they're going to kill Simmons. Sorry, Lauren.
No.
And then that's going to affect a change in Fitz's character. And yes, they might bring in Raina. And Skye's going to become more of a fighter on the team.
Yeah, whatever she really is. Yeah. All right, so that's the 7 points and our agreements or disagreements with it. And if you have a comment on that, we have a voicemail line that you can call and talk to us. And Haley, what is that?
It's 844-THE-BUS-1, 844-843-2871.
Awesome. That was a blind toss, and you got it. Oh, you're going to do well on the Gonna Geek Network. So you can catch us. We have a whole bunch of other ways to contact us: Facebook, Twitter, emails. Go to the Gonna Geek website, go down to the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast, or you can type in legendsofshield.com and it will take you right to our page. You'll see the contact information top right side. Give us a shout out. We'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to hear what you think of the finale, which is next week. Do you guys want to throw out any theories about the finale, or are you kind of done with that for now and we'll just wait for next week?
Let's see. I don't want Simmons to die. I don't want Fitz to die. I think Grant's going to die. Ward will live and probably spend at least the first half of next season angsting. Raina will live.
You mean Garrett's going to die?
That's what I meant. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, Grant's going to die, but Ward's going to live.
I am so upset over Fitzsimmons that I can't remember names. And Skye will do something superhumanish and freaky.
There is a whole bunch of hanging chads that have been left in the universe from this. I mean, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy has been overtaken, so we've got that to go back to. The ice freeze boy out in the treehouse or wherever he was sent to. I'm pretty sure he's lost. All the guys that got out of the fridge, they still all need to be captured. I know Coulson is focusing on Garrett right now, but there is a whole bunch of other stuff to happen too. And I think in order for us to get there, that we have to take care of Garrett first. So that is definitely where we are headed next week. And whether we get the bus back or not, we'll see. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for all your feedback over the time. We do appreciate you. Join us next week as we talk the finale, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Season 1. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all of our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent Legends, Stream, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation. No infringement is intended.